Hello, I'm Agne Tvaronaviciene, and today I will present you a short presentation about the key mistakes in mediation. An old proverb says, wise people learn by others' mistakes, fools by own. Even the most skillful mediators are making mistakes, and it's natural. Still, it is worth to discuss it in advance. Maybe it will help to avoid you. My presentation will list 5 most common mistakes. It's a great possibility to revise it before starting the role plays or even the real mediations. Maybe in future you will expand that list and add some your own mistakes, but I'm sure that mistakes are the driving force for us to develop, to improve our skills. So we should not be afraid of having it, but also we must be really brave and take advantage of it and be ready not to repeat them again. Okay, let's go. First mistake, not following the confidentiality rule. As we all know, confidentiality is one of the key words of mediation. It's like a cornerstone of mediation together with voluntariness and collaboration. This feature makes mediation worth to rely on, and researches shows that confidentiality is one of the most frequently listed reasons why people are choosing mediation. Mediators have an obligation to keep all information provided during mediation confidential. In failure to mediate situations, some parties are trying to take an advantage of that confidential information and use it against the other party during the litigation. That's why we should focus on keeping confidentiality and discuss it well in the very beginning. Even during caucuses, mediators must stay confidential. It is not allowed without a consent of the party to transfer any information which has heard in private meeting to the second party. And it means not only refraining from information disclosure in verbal form, as well it means even refraining from certain body language signs which may identify confirming or disapproving certain position. Why it is so important? Okay, let's discuss it. First of all, mediator must maintain parties' confidence. It's just simply parties should trust mediator. It is crucial for sincere and honest communication. Revealing emotions, feelings, and some certain sensitive factors for a stranger during mediation is not easy. We should understand it. Also, parties must be sure that information which is disclosed during mediation session will not be used against them in future. Mediation has a high rate of success, but still, in a huge number of cases, it does not work. In such situation, opponents may try to make use of such information during the litigation. Mediation is designated for helping people, not to putting them in possibly weaker position after the unsuccessful mediation process. Third, but not less important, disclosing of confidential information, even in one particular case, actually means betraying mediator's profession in general. People will not rely on mediation anymore. We should all remember that every person who is participating in mediation session must follow these requirements. Confidentiality rule obliges not only mediators and parties to a dispute, but as well their attorneys at law and other people who might be involved into the process. Relevant aspect to confidentiality rule as well is privacy of the mediation process. In many countries, even the information that parties are attending mediation sessions is secret, and it's forbidden to disclose it without direct consent of the parties. In Lithuania, for example, as well as in many other countries, the rule of confidentiality in mediation is protected by law. First of all, it is prohibited to hear as a witness mediator about the information which was told him during mediation. Also, it is prohibited for courts to accept as evidence information which was disclosed during mediation. Also, many mediators ask parties to sign a confidentiality commitment before they're starting the mediation. So we have even free legal means how we are protecting confidentiality rules, confidentiality rule during mediation process. Of course, in regard of some information, there are exceptions of these rules. Thus, mostly it is connected with information in regard of committed crimes or plans to commit a crime, and definitely mediator, according to the directive of mediation of European Union, mediator is obliged to report such information for the special institutions or offices. As well, it is allowed to disclose information which was heard during the mediation if it is necessary in the process of enforcement of mediation agreement. Okay, we can go further. Mistake number 2, applying the exceptions to the voluntariness rule. Why mediation should be voluntary? Like, simple question, but I think that answer to it is very important for the success of mediation. People who choose mediation voluntary are more collaborative. They make more efforts to settle, to compare with people who are made to use mediation as a method of their dispute resolution. Voluntariness rule in mediation means not only a right to choose participate in mediation process or not, but also it includes the right to leave mediation. Every person who is involved in mediation is really free to leave the mediation room whenever he thinks it's necessary for him. So if he do not like mediation process anymore, he can stand up and leave the room even without any explanations. So it's really very important aspect of voluntariness rule, just to preserve that right of every person to leave mediation if he do not think that that's suitable process for his dispute. Mediators must assure parties that they have such a right and respect it whatever happens. I do not refer it direct to obligatory mediation, or in some countries we call it mandatory or compulsory mediation. In many countries, such form of mediation is very successful and is applied. Still, practitioners and scientists are quite strict on this point. Firstly, even in mandatory mediation, party must feel himself free to leave such mediation. So we are making mandatory the entering to the mediation, like for informational purposes, just for getting people acquainted with mediation process, but we never make mandatory for mediating. Just people still have a right to leave mediation room if they feel that that process is not suitable for them. Such obligation to use mediation in certain cases should be applied only for a certain period of time. It is designated to get society acquainted with mediation and its benefits, and after some period, normally several years, when mentioned goals are already achieved, mediation should be voluntary process again. In case of victim-offender mediation, like in criminal mediation cases, it is widely prohibited to imply parties' obligation to participate in mediation. So mandatory mediation normally applies only in civil cases. Mandatory mediation mostly means an obligation for the parties to attend initial meeting with the mediators. Still, in some countries, it is obligatory mediate. And it means be active in suggesting proposals, discussing it with other party, providing counter offers, and so on. In my opinion, it is impossible to force people mediate. We can take, for example, a horse to the water, but if he is not thirsty, it's natural that he will not drink that water. The same in mediation, actually. It is also should be stated that mandatory mediation normally enjoys lower success rate to compare with voluntary one. So, the third mistake is being afraid of failure. Work of mediator is really difficult. Actually, mediators in general should be treated like very brave people. Isn't it challenging to stand between two angry parties in the middle? Many mediators feel that they have to be perfect. However, We all know it is impossible. My colleague once said me a very good thing. She told me that she do not remember in detail her successful cases, but still, she still remembers well her unsuccessful ones. So, all failures are teaching us are helping us to improve our skills and knowledge. During mediation, if you are full of fear or having the mediation fall apart, you will be not able to take new approaches and will be fixed on some you already tried and believed to be effective. All mediations are different. Each time you enter into mediation, be sure that it requires different ideas how to cope with it. You cannot be afraid to try new approaches. Of course, some of your ideas will not work. In this case, be creative. Always have plan B, C, and even D. So, creativity, thinking out of the box, and stopping being afraid to try new things. Be aware that few of them might fail, but still the rest will work out and help you get closer to the solution. Another mistake I would like to propose you to discuss today is entering mediation without preparation. Preparation is crucial for every participant of mediation. Clients, lawyers, as well as mediators must be prepared to take a part in this process. In case of mediator, it is necessary to, first of all, get acquainted with the case. My colleagues, mediators, psychologists, often say that they do not need any information before the mediation session. Still, mostly mediators, lawyers are willing to have some written materials for the reading before the mediation, and they are asking parties to present some. If you are mediator in court-connected mediation, as well, you will be able to get acquainted with all materials which are provided for the court. It might be really suitable for you and help to be prepared. Secondly, it is really very important to review your mediator's toolbox. What tools you are going to use in this concrete mediation? Maybe you will need certain equipment or certain things for it, for example, whiteboard or markers. You should be sure that everything is ready and it's near you in order to use it easily. The third thing is making decision who should take part in mediation and discuss it with parties. Sometimes during initial meetings, it is clear that we need to invite to mediation some other people because they are really very important for the success of the mediation. So now it's time during preparation stage to think about it. And if you have such ideas, please contact your parties and discuss it. Another thing, finding suitable place for mediation. Of course, it's the duty of the mediator to find a suitable room, to arrange it suitably for the mediation. So it's your obligation. Let's do it in order to escape situation when you are not ready for the mediation. And finally, arrange suitable time for the session. Sometimes some mediators are complaining that working as a mediator often means having no fixed working hours. It means that in most cases, if it is not business, if it is family, for example, cases or community mediation cases, people are willing to have mediation sessions even after normal working hours. So mediators every time must be very flexible, and they should be able to adapt to the parties' needs and to propose them suitable time. Also, it is very important to help parties to prepare for the mediation. A bigger part of your clients will be first time on mediation, so it means that they will have no ideas what kind of process it will be, how long it will take, and what will be the structure of it, and what will be their role. So the obligation of the mediator is to explain everything in detail. And having in mind that the classical mediation normally starts with the opening statements of mediators, which is after is followed by the opening statements of the parties to a dispute, it is really very important to contact parties and tell them about it, and just tell them that they will be asked to talk for several minutes and to present their views on the issue. It really will help them to know it in advance and be prepared. As well, do not forget lawyers. We all know that participating in mediation together with your lawyer is a right of the party, and there is no possibility to restrict that right. But still, a lot of lawyers do not know well the mediation process, and often they're bringing to the mediation room their techniques which normally applied in courtroom. And definitely mediation process is really different to compare with litigation. And during the mediation, when lawyer is presenting the interest of his client, he do not have to convince mediator of with some arguments on the consent with the issue, but he needs to convince other party. And it's not so easy to do, and all legal argumentation will not be successful. So mediator, before the mediation, if he is sure that parties are coming together with their lawyers, he or she should contact lawyers in advance and just provide some additional attention for the lawyers and explain them what they are expected to do in mediation, just by calling or them to just simply to collaborate with the mediator for the searching for settlement and during the drafting of the settlement agreement. And the last mistake I would like to discuss today is being too evaluative. Of course, we all know different styles of mediation, and some practitioners claim that evaluative mediation is more effective. Evaluative mediation means such form of mediation where mediator is allowed to propose solution, to prognose the possible court decision, to inform parties about existing court practice which is related with an issue. Classic mediation still is facilitative one, and the role of mediator is to help parties to find a solution, but not to suggest this solution by his own. Being evaluative, on the other hand, means higher influence to the parties and often even means overtaking of the process control. So we should know it in advance, and also we should work and try to use all possible techniques to motivate parties to be creative, and we should use evaluative mediation only in this situation when really it is necessary because of parties because the situations when parties are not able to provide some solutions for the discussion. Just in general, why mediator should not evaluate? So first of all, I think that being evaluative almost always creates a risk for breaching the principle of impartiality and neutrality in mediation. Suggesting the certain decision in a case often means making priority for an interest of certain party, like in litigation, and we are choosing mediation to avoid it. So there is no possibility for the third party, like a mediator is in a dispute, to think up such a solution which is equally satisfies the interest of both of the parties. So this point, it's very important and shows that being evaluative really means bringing mediation more closer to the litigation. Another reason, let's be frank and understand that person in front of judge who is authorized to pass obligatory decision behaves non-naturally and tries to create better image to compare with reality. The same problem appears during evaluative mediation. If a party knows that mediator will evaluate case, she or he is often changing behavior and trying to create the better image, trying to hide some mistakes which were done in relations or some obligations which were not followed, and showing themselves from better side. In this moment, actually, collaboration as one of the cornerstone of mediation turns to be a competition between parties, and it's not suitable for the mediation. Evaluative mediation also is prerogative of lawyers. Evaluative mediation was born in United States, and it was the idea of attorneys at law, how they can have their mediation based on legal perspective. And of course, in some cases, it's really very effective in case of timing, but it never so effective in aspect of sustainability of the decision. So, what I would like to tell, we know that mediators are not only lawyers. They might be psychologists, communicators, social workers, and as well other professionals. To evaluate dispute and to give any proposal mostly is a job of a lawyer, and not every lawyer, but really specialist of that concrete area. So, evaluative mediation should not be performed by other specialists, definitely. There are a lot of different alternative dispute resolution methods, and parties are free to choose. For example, rent-a-judge method, go to arbitration, or choose ministerial, or choose neutral evaluation. And when parties come to mediation, they normally expect facilitative role of the mediator. Also, they often have goal not only to resolve that concrete dispute, but also to learn to communicate and just to make their communication more effective in order to know how in future deal with the conflicts better. So being evaluative means taking out the opportunity for the parties to learn how they should behave in future with their conflicts and how they should search for the settlement by their own efforts. Another important thing that when mediator evaluates the case, parties lose their motivation to be creative, to search for alternative, to search for decisions which are not already applied, and it is very valuable. And I have in mind such situations when mediator just suggests some usual solution for the problem and parties are sticking to it. And they are seeing it as only one possible way of resolving dispute. If mediator refrains himself from proposing that solution and use various techniques to increase the creativity of the people, it's really big chance that he will find a suitable tool and people will start to brainstorm and will put on the table a lot of possible solutions which are original, which are based on the interest of the parties, and maybe these solutions will be not suitable for other cases but will be ideal for that concrete case. So, you know, one of the benefits of mediation is possibility to provide creative solutions. So we do not need to fix on some past successful solutions, and we should not be afraid to take some new solutions. Another aspect of evaluation problem in mediation is need to refrain from judging what is relevant in case and what is not relevant in that case. We should be attentive and do not ignore any feeling or state of fact which is identified by the parties in the way of dispute resolution. And it is very important when mediator is a lawyer. We often are not taught to cope with emotions and concerns what are irrelevant to the dispute, as a conflict, as breach of legal rule. So here we have to learn a lesson. Mediation is outside of all legal processes. We should have it in mind and allow parties to connect any concerns in discussions, not only those who are legally resolvable. Practice shows that people to a dispute rarely distinguishes their legally grounded concerns and other issues, which are very important to them to settle. For example, in some cases, apology might be crucial. One may wish to get an apology even more than any monetary compensation. Mediator cannot ignore it. Maybe it is the key for the resolution. Do not miss it. So, thank you very much. I hope that this short overview of key mistakes in mediation will help you to prepare better for your role plays and real mediations. So, once more, thanks for attention and good luck in mediation.